Hi, I'm Brandon Roper.
And I'm Otis Roper.
And together we are still
the SuperRoperBros. Wait for it.
It's good to be back, everybody. Today we're back basically to review another movie that came out. It's been a long gap sequel movie. And,
Stop. I'm going in. I called it. I called it way back, but I'm gonna restrain myself a little bit just to be cordial at the beginning, but I'm going in. I'm letting y'all know right now.
There's a few things about these movies that come out that have these long sequels. We've gone into this a bunch. I'm just gonna let the video.
You know what happens when, you find out about an old IP that's being brought back into the present and they're gonna do something with it.
Character assassination.
Oh yeah. In favor of a younger generation that's there to take up the mantle, and your old heroes are just old now. They're being old while being old, and they're old.
Stop it!
Because you're old.
Stop it!
And that one. Yeah, so these are our points that we've made over and over again about what they do with these movies where we get an old IP, take it, just kind of make it. We're talking about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
I'm retiring.
Well, in that case, what are we drinking?
Same for the goddaughter.
Dad told me you found something on a train during the war. A dial that could change the course of history.
Why are you chasing the thing that drove your father crazy?
Dude.
In order for us
Dysentery.
to tell you about the movie, what it was about, well, let's just start at the beginning, okay? First of all, I love Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones, iconic to the 80s. I mean, like, you couldn't be an 80s, 90s kid and not know with the whip, with the fedora, with the leather jacket, even with us, the Junior, like,
the
like
one-liners,
the punch sound. Indiana Jones punch hits harder than the 1929 stock market drop. His punch hit so hard, he made a man slide in gravel.
Now, that's a question that you really need to ask yourself, America. How hard does one have to punch somebody for them to slide 10 feet on gravel?
he
10
slid,
feet
he
backwards.
slid and like he was rolling the shoulders in gravel.
Crumpled in Temple of Doom.
Oh my goodness.
Fantastic.
Nazi punching, crunch sounding, like that kind of stuff. Iconic. The whip sound.
Yeah, back in the good old days when everyone could just agree that Nazis were bad.
And he would just murder Nazis. There was no listen, Indiana Jones didn't play around with life or death when it came to gunfights, sword fights, none of that. One of his most iconic moments that happened because Harrison Ford was thick as the swordsman in the first, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
And he's like, how about I just shoot him?
Yeah.
He just shoots him. Any kid that had a rope in the backyard in the 80s.
For sure.
Guess what you were doing? Throwing it across whatever you wasn't supposed to, swinging it across like we all did that.
Faith had, our sister, she had remember that old like vinyl jump rope that broke?
You know what
and
we was doing.
We used the end of that to play Indiana Jones. It was so dangerous. It's a wonder we survived adulthood. But we were just swinging it, flinging it, flipping it, trying to latch it onto everything going by.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
How many times did I put that barrier bell around everybody's ankles?
Yeah.
And just I was way before Scorpion was getting open until people get over here. I was using that jump rope, get people over there. Indiana Jones was, and not only that, but the way that he carried himself with the ladies, the way that he carried himself in school, the whole classroom. I just put a recent reel up, check that one out, about Indiana Jones was doing more than archaeology in his classroom. It wasn't professional. This is a movie. It's not a professional setting. But your boy was involved in way more than archaeology and test paper grading. I'm telling you that.
His whole relationship with Mary in Ravenwood is completely inappropriate.
She was a child. She
She
knew it was wrong.
literally- she said it to him. She literally said it all to him. But you know, we're getting off into this is our one of the properties that we love.
No, we're doing it justice because we love this character. We love this IP so much. So I'm not going to sit here and act like, you know, well, it's okay. You disgraced Han Solo. You disgraced Luke Skywalker. You disgraced, just who else is it? Transformers. Like you disgraced all this other stuff. But this one, we're gonna give you a pass because we're trying to be nice. No more. Never again. That's what we made this channel for. The F-14 Tomcat got more respect than Indiana Jones.
I'm like this. I do agree that this movie did not really need to be made, but I don't feel like this was the worst, most terrible besmirching of Indiana Jones. That was Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And even Crystal Skull was okay for like the first half, and then it just fell off a cliff. This movie, it was okay for like maybe about 30 minutes, and then it falls off a cliff.
But let's get into so let's start off and give this a fair movie review. Those of you who have stuck in this long, okay, who obviously side with me, that's why you're here. I want you to make sure that you like, share, subscribe, click that notification bell. Make sure that you tune in so that we can keep these filthy fingers off of our IPs right now.
They're not gonna stop. They've got all the money. But we're gonna go into perhaps why this movie just didn't need to be made.
Starring
Harrison Ford. Let's see, Mads Mikkelsen, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Antonio Banderas, Boyd Holbrook, Shantae Renee Wilson, Thomas Kreitzman, who always gets cast as like the bad Nazi. I mean, he's a really good actor. He's in King Kong as the captain, but like the guy just can't get a break away from being in a straight up SS uniform. Like, jeez, like, I mean, it's like it's like they call him up. Does he have his own? I mean, I don't mean that in like a way where like I think the guy, he just is always in one. Let's see, Karen Allen is Marion Ravenwood, Toby Jones. Let's see, Jonathan Rhys Davies is back, and I'm not really going into the rest of everybody else. There's a few other people in it, but yeah.
You see that?
You know, it is what it is.
Because it doesn't matter.
Well, because we're just getting into like thug number 1, thug number 2, you know. We're getting into really ridiculous territory with it. Now, so the movie kicks off in World War II with Indiana Jones. He's doing what Indiana Jones does. He's looking for something. The Nazis have the Spear of Longinus, or the Spear of Destiny.
Now here's the thing. For the first 15 minutes of this movie, we got what we should have got from the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Okay, this is what we should have gotten there. Somebody finally was like, you know what, let's get back to the basics, and they gave us what we wanted. Somewhere after that, we got to hijack the CGI, the de-aging process for Harrison Ford. Hey, you know what? Good stuff. I know you guys could have done that to his voice.
That was the worst thing to me, is that he was like, it looks great. He looks like young Harrison Ford, but he sounds like he's 97-year-old Indiana.
Did the check clear?
Man.
Did the check clear? That's what I'm in
really
here.
Was.
I'm only in here for one thing.
It was super jarring. It was like it kind of pulled you out of it. This voice is not coming from this human. So that was weird.
So the plot is the Nazis are doing Nazi bad stuff.
Yes.
And they're after Nazi bad stuff, but the problem is
which
the war.
the Nazis really did.
What?
Which is why that works.
It's almost like they were doing the things that got us invested in the Indiana Jones movies before, and it got us invested again. But suddenly, when the Nazis are doing bad stuff, because the war's about to be over. I don't know if you guys know this in history, they lost. They lost, okay? They lost it, it was over, and they knew it was over. And so as this last final thing, the Führer is looking for...
Yeah, a bunch of crap that's going to turn the tide of the war. It's not going to work, but, you know. They find the Spear of Longinus is what everybody's supposed to be looking for, but that's kind of a MacGuffin. It's kind of there. It's like a thing, and it's just, it's a fake. But then they find, this is in the first 15 minutes. These aren't spoilers. You're going to find out in 15 minutes. So then they find half of the Dial of Archimedes is what the actual item is supposed to be. The Dial of Archimedes. So Then we go forward from there. And now it's 1969.
Before we leave there, your CGI is incredible on Harrison Ford in some of these moments, but I gotta tell you, some of the stuff that you guys left in there, the cut scenes on my PS2, which I'm playing Metal Gear again right now, Metal Gear Solid, okay, look better than what we saw. That running on top of the train, whatever that thing was, whatever that wacky waving inflatable arm tube man was. No, you're wrong for that one. And the antagonist is on top of a train.
Oh.
He's on top of a train, and there's a fight that happens, okay? Indiana Jones fight. They changed the sound of his punches, which I was kind of upset with. They did one that sounded like it was supposed to. Somebody is hit in the head on a moving train by the stovepipes that help refuel the steam engines on it.
Yeah, it was like it was that or one of those mail poles.
Okay, yeah, whatever. So hits him in the head, knocks him from a moving train at night, because there's a lot of chase scenes that happen in this movie at night or in the rain to hide up CGI. It's to hide. I know. I'm on to you. I see what you're doing. Okay. Right.
You hide bad CGI in the dark.
Yeah. Gets hit, and your boy just shows up. He just shows up like.
Yeah.
No explanation. No, I had to have my head reattached to my body. No cyborg implants.
I was literally thinking, like, it was so jarring that I thought it was his twin. I was like, this is his twin brother? Is this some other scientist?
Yeah, obviously.
It was like, this is clearly like, okay, they're going to do the evil twin plot. I was like, it's a bit contrived.
Dr. Jones, you killed my twin at
there's
that night.
no way that somebody survived.
Ooh, you know he did.
And that's the problem with, and this is another thing we've talked about. It's a problem with using like green screen and CGI. If you watch Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, there is a scene where they're running on a moving train. Guess what? It's a real train. It's a real train with real people jumping over cars and whatever.
Rest in peace to River Phoenix.
Yeah.
What a loss.
Train scene. The train is going about what trains go, like 30 to 40
chugga.
miles an hour.
Toot.
That train in the beginning of Indiana Jones, it looks like a bullet train moving through Japan like countryside. I mean, it's making.
You can see the steam coming off as the rain hits it. It's like it's superheated.
It's making the Starship Enterprise like warp sounds from the old tearing space and time. That is an issue when you make stuff look very different. When you make stuff, it just, to me, it made it seem like, I guess what the director was trying to say was that he got hit in the face and he fell.
To his dad.
But instead, it made it look like he got hit by something that should have killed every other human on the planet. Like, nobody should survive that.
Damn! He ain't gonna be in Rush Hour 3.
But anyway, we fast forward. It's now 1969.
After the Nazis had been thwarted, Indiana Jones' Temple of the Crystal Skull happens chronologically speaking, even though I will never accept any of these movies as being sequels to anything after Last Crusade. Our hero finds himself in New York, separated from his wife. Spoiler alert, what was his name in the last one? Shia LaBeouf's character?
Oh, they called him Mutt.
Yeah, it's Mutt. Yeah, Mutt's character joined the Vietnam conflict and was killed in action.
We assume it was Vietnam. We don't know. It could have been Korea.
Could have been Korea. Okay. But the point is, he's dead. Indiana Jones is in the middle of retiring from some college.
Yeah, I think Columbia.
Not with honors, not with like national accolades to his retirement, but he is literally introduced waking up a crotchety old man in an apartment who has an alcohol problem, who tells his neighbor to turn their music down. It's almost 8 a.m. This is how our characters are rewarded yet once again, and I'm sick of it. And the writer who wrote this obviously cared so much about Indiana Jones that they wanted to reward the character for all the things that he's been through. All of the iconic moments, the way that he's saved the United States time and again, the world time and again, and he's in his tidy whities, drunk, and we're supposed to be like, yeah, that's my childhood icon. That's my guy.
Well, that doesn't bother me as much. Like, I think it's kind of funny. The problem with that sort of stuff becomes when there's nothing else to when the rest of the movie doesn't add up. I thought it was a funny juxtaposition to have Indiana Jones kind of like in his underwear being an old man, because he is an old man. Harrison Ford's 80. He's 80 years old. Yeah. Okay, he's older than Joe Biden. Like it's a little insane that he's out here doing all this stuff that he ends up doing, even in this movie.
Cool.
But the problem really becomes the whole story around him, or why he's here. There's nobody really to root for. There's nobody really to care about. So he wakes up, he's gonna retire, and then the plot happens.
But then the plot happens, and then he's selectively 80 sometimes, and then he's sometimes selectively my age. Your boy's selectively 45 years old and feeling good and feeling like, I'm just asking for, like, who was this movie for? If you wanted to do this to a character, if you wanted to make this statement, if you'd have made your own character and done this with this, that wouldn't have been no problem with me. Much like my kids have no business with some of the weaponry that I have in the world, you had no business putting your hands on it. You had no business touching this at all. And the writing shows it because it leaves that jarring inconsistency.
Well, that's another problem that Hollywood has just in general, is stop picking any old body to redo these properties. If you're watching this review right now and you're going, oh, I didn't remember that about Indiana Jones, you probably wouldn't be a good choice to do an Indiana Jones movie. You probably wouldn't. You wouldn't select somebody just off the street. Like, you know, you got something nice in your house. You wouldn't send your clumsiest kid to go pick it up. Like, oh, yeah, sure, go hand me that. You know, why would you do that? And this is the thing. Hollywood has these people who they like. Mm-hmm. And they like these directors, and they think, oh, we'll just give it to them to have them do this. And everybody kind of puts their fingers in it, and it ends up being like, you know, there's too many cooks in the kitchen. Keep it consistent, because somebody who wrote this movie did care about Indiana Jones
for the first 15 minutes.
I'll say even further than that. The actual like structure of this movie, the actual chases, the actual the actual direction that stuff goes, that's fine. I have no problem with the action. It's just that when you get with people in these sets and they start talking about why they're doing what they're doing, the movie makes no sense. It comes apart. The chase scenes and stuff like that, that's Indiana Jones. That's Indiana Jones.
That's cool. So let's get introduced to the actual main character of the film. What was her name again? Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character that we can't remember her name. Oh, yeah, Helena Shaw, a British brunette who shows up, who's the key to everything, who knows stuff, knows how to do better archaeology than Indiana Jones. Did we see this character? Was this character called Ray? Wasn't that what this character was called before?
No, it wasn't called Ray.
Okay.
Those aren't the same things.
Totally.
That is a completely unnecessary comparison. But the problem with this character, and what the main problem with her is, she is completely out of place. What is she doing here? And when I say what is she doing here, I mean, she is there. She is his goddaughter or something. He hasn't seen her since she was a kid. She randomly shows up and is trying to steal from him, and then leaves him out to dry when the bad guys show up. Which the bad guys, of course, are the CIA, who are working with the Nazis, and then the Nazis are, you know, the CIA doesn't know they're Nazis somehow, even though they're literally from Operation Paperclip. That was a real thing that happened. America did it. They still don't. They can't figure out that these Nazis are Naziing, even though they're Naziing all over the place. All right, they're goose stepping everywhere they go. They're sneezing Heil Hitler.
Bold curiosity for the adventure ahead.
I don't understand why the CIA is working with them. It's ridiculous, but they are.
So they show up. The Nazis show up, and they start murdering people. Helena Shaw sees the bodies from them murdering people and decides to leave her godfather to the fate of the Nazis who are murdering people.
Don't move. Please get out of here. Stop! Sorry.
Helena!
And that was the moment that I was like, I can really identify with this character right now. This character is somebody I can really get behind and root because you weren't trying to get this, artifact because you love your father's memory or legacy. She was in it for that mad cream. She was in it for the cream. Cash rules everything around.
And that's another problem I have with this movie. Like, she's doing it for fortune and glory, which is fine because that's a callback to Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
What is Sankawa?
Fortune and glory, kid. Fortune and glory.
The problem with that callback, the problem with that in general is it doesn't work here because they haven't done any work to make this character actually likable. Say what you will about Rey, say what you will about Star Wars. Rey wasn't unpleasant, Rey wasn't a bad guy. Rey didn't do things that literally hurt or tried to kill other characters. This character, up until about 10 to 15 minutes left of the film, doesn't seem to give a crap about anybody else in the story. And how can I be invested in that? How can I invest emotionally in a character that is a horrible human being? And I'm supposed to root for them? No, I hope they get carried off by a giant vulture. Like, who cares what happens? And so I'm supposed to root for her, even though I don't like her. I'm supposed to root for Indiana Jones, even though Indiana Jones is really just along for the ride, trying to figure out what the heck's going on.
So, the Dial of Destiny, being the thing it is, what it actually is when you have, it's two parts of it. When you combine both of them, you're supposed to be able to not only go through time, but you can choose the place and time that you want to go through.
Hitler made mistakes, and with this, I will correct them all.
And so the Nazis are after it because the bad guy who was hit in the head at Mach 8 by a pipe
is
back
not
in
dead.
1945, not only isn't he suffering from a condition that we call death,
we hesitate to say.
He has a little scar.
We hesitate to say.
He has a little scar, I think, on the wrong side of his head.
Yeah, because it's Mads Mikkelsen. He's got that
okay. Now, Matt Mikkelsen, shout out to you for being a tremendous actor. You've been some of the best, worst bad guys we've ever had before.
Yeah.
Okay, like you're a cool dude, man. I like you. This character don't make no sense because whenever he needs to show up to be menacing, Abracanazi, your boy is there.
Yes, he tears through the walls of space and time. It makes sense. So he shows up in Morocco, where Helena Shaw goes to sell the Dial of Destiny after she leaves, Indy to be murdered. She goes there to sell it. She's selling it to the highest bidder.
He shows up to the only black market for the only artifact that was going to be sold there. He shows up and he's gonna whip it. He's gonna go in there and whip the item.
Get back.
I'm not talking about Indy. I was talking about Sella. But no, I get what you're saying. Like, Indy goes there to stop him from selling it. A fight ensues. The chase happens. They run away.
Not only does this chase happen, this chase happens. And happens.
Yes. It's in these little vehicles that are also going warp 7.9 through these tiny streets of whatever. Like, they're using like the little rickshaw, like scooter things that are like, I didn't know those could just...
Yeah, just go to Mach 4, like...
Yeah, it looks like you're watching Gran Turismo.
But in the middle of this, Helena Shaw's ex-fiance shows up. And he just wants her back so badly.
Wait, that happened?
Did you watch the movie?
Oh, God, yeah, I remember that now. Boo.
Yeah, so he shows up in the middle of it, and he's just so thirsty for her back. And why? Because the writer felt it necessary for you to know that she was desired so much by some man that she finessed for his ring. She sold the ring. She sold the engagement ring for that mad cream. Cash rules everything.
So this is the problem with that character as well. We never established that this character was poor. From what I saw when we went back to the past and saw Toby Jones and they're raising her and whatnot when he's all obsessed with the Dial of Destiny, from what we saw, they're pretty well off. Like, it wasn't like they were poor. So why is she so invested in going out and getting money? Like, it doesn't make sense.
She literally says in the middle of a chase scene how smart beautiful and capable she is.
Mysterious as the dark side of the moon. Time is racing toward us till the hunt arrive. Heed my every order, and you might survive.
Your powers have gained in strength, Brazil. I have Shalindria's wand. That's your Elora Ganon will be queen.
Your vessel will escort us through Lokiran territory. That way you can keep an eye on us. Make sure we don't reactivate our holodecks. The other alternative is we destroy your ship.
With all the strength of a raging fire.
In the middle of that chase scene.
That does happen.
Okay, that happens. And I'm so like this, that was the moment I was like, you know what? I identify with this character so much right now in my Indiana Jones film.
See, and listen, that part, I wasn't even angry at her character then. I had already hated her character from being a literal terrible human being from jump.
But she's smart, beautiful, and capable.
You can't be smart, beautiful, and capable.
Yes, she can.
And not be ugly from being terrible.
She can.
That's not how that works.
That's exactly how it works.
That's not how that works.
That's how she says it works,
Well,
and she wrote it.
Then she wrong. She's wrong as 2 left feet, okay? That's stupid. You have to be an actual human being. If I don't care about your character, then your character, like if your character is actually doing bad things on screen, I mean, she's doing bad things and she's not the villain.
His name is Teddy. Teddy is a thief. If you were thinking of Short Round from Temple of Doom,
it's basically Moroccan Short Round.
Yes, with none of the personality to make me care about you at all, is Teddy.
Well, and honestly, this is another situation where I'm going to say this. This is not the problem for the actors. The actors aren't doing this wrong. This was badly written. Okay? This was badly written. This kid is shoved into the movie. First of all, he shows up, an hour and 10 minutes or something into the movie? And also, this movie was long. And it felt its length. And you felt like oh man, is it still going? Like, man, was it 2 hours and like 50 minutes or something crazy? It was a long movie. But we're in the theater, it's just hanging on, and this, like I said, this kid shows up, he gets maybe I don't know, 15 minutes of actual time on screen, but he's just along for the ride.
Here's I'll say the interaction between her and him is a relationship that we never saw established, so we don't get to know why exactly they care about each other, but it sounds an awful lot like Short Round was introduced as trying to steal from Indiana Jones. Teddy was introduced trying to steal from her, but I don't care about Teddy. If they wanted to make the Short Round movie right now.
He was trying to steal from Indy, not her.
Well, no. Short Round was trying to steal from Indy in the beginning.
What I mean is Teddy was trying to steal from Indy. They already knew each other. They had already known each other when this whole thing started. But here's the problem with that too. We are shown Indy and Short Round's relationship. We're shown the depth of their relationship. When Indy gets possessed, Short Round is right there.
Indy, I love you. Burns him.
Devastating. It makes sense. It's poignant. The problem I have with this one is it's just kind of it's cosmetic. It's surface level. The Short Round Teddy comparison is silly. It was surface level. It was cosmetic. It had no need to be there. It was only there to establish that Helena Shaw is actually kind of a human sometimes, and that's it. And you can tell that's the only reason it's there, because what else does he do in the plot besides murder someone?
So, what decisions does Indy make that actually impacted where the story was going to go to?
When they are in the tombs, the stuff he knows about Archimedes actually becomes it actually comes into the fray a little bit. But what is he doing that's impacting the overall plot? Being Indiana Jones.
Okay, so it's Indiana Jones and the hijacked character. So we're gonna meet up with one of Indy's oldest friends,
Oh yeah.
played by Antonio Banderas.
Yeah, after the Mach 17 chase through the winding city streets,
All right.
they end up going to meet.
So they charter a boat. They go out. We have to have every Indiana Jones movie has to have what's called the animal gross out. So in the first film, it was spiders on Indy's back.
Yeah, and snakes.
Okay, snakes. The second film, it was bugs. Lots of the bugs. All the bugs with some of the best dialogue I've ever heard in an Indiana Jones movie.
We are going to die.
It's great is how that's become a meme.
It's like great. In the Last Crusade, we got rats.
Yeah, rats.
Rats.
Dad
Okay.
doesn't like rats.
So in this movie, it was like, let's go to the sea and we're gonna have these eels. And these eels.
Oh, that was so dumb.
These eels show up, and if you make sudden movements, the eels come at you more.
Here's the problem with it. I mean, it does suffer from the same logical problem that all of these movies do suffer. Like, how are there that many snakes in one pit?
All the eels, they move faster underwater. Like if you move faster, they are attracted to you, so you can't move fast. And they find a undisturbed wreckage of a Roman warship with the bodies still intact.
Now let's just give that the credit it deserves. Now, if those Romans have been down there since the Battle of Syracuse, okay? Battle of Syracuse, which is the second Punic War. Like, if they've been down there, that means they've been down there since like 214. Let's just say it was the last Roman ship, okay, that was in the war.
One.
Okay, the very last one. Let's be generous about it. So if it's at 240-ish, like BCE, like that is insanity. Like insane, and there's bodies in it. Bodies? It's sitting all in a row.
I do BC.
Like all lined up, okay? All lined up. It just makes no sense. It just makes no sense.
They're there. They're intact. Nobody's discovered it. You can basically look down in the water and see it from there. You've got 3 minutes of air to get down there. They go down there. They get the thing, the MacGuffin. They bring it back up. Oh, I'm sorry. The Nazis show up.
How did they know where they were? That becomes another problem. In the first Indiana Jones movie, you have the full resources of the German government that is all over the Mediterranean looking for actual like artifacts and stuff. That makes sense that the Nazis would be where they were.
Yes, it does.
That makes sense that the Nazis. Oh, look, they got a submarine base over here. They've got this base over there.
Yes.
This is essentially 4 guys in a U-Haul.
No. 3 guys and 1 suffering from death.
Jesus Christ.
From terminal death from a pipe.
The guy who got
on
hit.
head injury.
I mean, it was so fast.
It's Germany. Like, imagine hanging out of an aircraft and striking a pipe. That's basically what happened.
I mean, it feels like it.
But he knows exactly where they are because his brain functions work. That's not how brain trauma works.
So let's see how silly. Let's just get to how silly this is. So after this, after the whole thing goes on, first of all, they just kill Antonio Banderas. Spoiler alert. They just murder him.
They murder him after shooting him in the knee for getting him to talk, and then they murder him.
Yeah.
They escape because Helena Shaw.
Wait, hold on. It's not even about her and what she's doing to like delay in that scene. It's really whatever. It's fine. Like she's translating the thing or whatever at gunpoint.
Exactly.
But then she takes a stick of dynamite. Dynamite! All right. Throws it in the actual like engine room of the actual boat. Blows up. They escape the Nazis. Steal the Nazis' boat. And then within the next scene, probably about 7 actual minutes of screen time, the Nazis are where they were.
Now,
the Nazis are where they were.
I think that dynamite would cause extreme damage.
I mean,
to the engine or engine room.
Let's just go and say that it doesn't sink. outright from it. Somehow throwing a stick of dynamite in the engine room doesn't just cause the thing to take on water and for everybody to die. Let's just be generous and say that.
Okay.
How in the actual F do you show up where they were when they didn't tell them where they were going?
I know how.
It's amazing.
He was like,
it's amazing.
I see you.
I mean, they end up going exactly there, and they show up, and there's a person there with a van for them to rent. Like they rented a van after. First of all, they pull off. They didn't even show what ship they showed up in. They just show them getting into the van. Like
he sees them escaping on their boat, and he pulls out a pair of binoculars and knows exactly the city they're going to show up at because he got hit in the head with a pipe at Mach 4.
Oh my God!
He's got superpowers now.
Because
I don't know.
script writing, and this is the biggest problem with this movie. Honestly, more than any one character, more than any group of things, it is the bad script writing that keeps allowing this sort of inconsistency to happen. You should not have in your movie a scene where somebody gets hit in the face at 900 miles an hour and this motherfucker dead. Nobody in editing goes, it looks like he might be dead. Maybe we should take that out. That doesn't make sense. Or maybe we should give Phoebe Waller. She's an important character in this movie. Maybe we should establish why she's so hell bent on selling these artifacts, because her father is an actual, archaeologist. It just seems like she wouldn't just be like, I don't care about anything. But she doesn't, and she only cares about money.
So let's go ahead and get to the end. Basically, the last act of the movie.
Yeah.
The last act of the movie is this. Teddy, who is the sidekick, really likes airplanes. And so
they did establish that.
Decided to, he talks to the pilots that are in Morocco, and he set up out of a champagne bottle and some other various artifacts how to fly an aircraft. And so since he's done that on the table a lot, he knows how to do that in real life. It's kind of like me playing Ace Combat 7 a lot. Because I play Ace Combat 7 a lot, I can totally fly an F-22 Raptor in real life.
I ain't getting on a plane with you.
That makes perfect sense. So we get these characters in the aircraft, but we start noticing funny things in the Tomb of Archimedes, which the Tomb of Archimedes isn't someplace in a remote location. It's a tourist attraction.
That's another problem with sloppy script writing. This is a place where people go all the time.
Every day.
So why wouldn't nobody just looked up? That's all they really did. They climbed up.
There's an opening up there.
It was like 40 feet, and they just climbed up there. And it was like,
it might have some artifacts in it.
I don't think that and it was like clearly.
I ain't gonna check, though. I ain't gonna check.
I mean, no, we ain't gonna do that.
I ain't gonna check.
No, let's go home.
Nope, let's go home.
Where's it been?
Let's be poor.
You know what? My great granddaddy was in this exact same cave too. He wasn't climbing up nothing either.
No.
Because this has been here for literally 2,000
generations.
It's insane. But this is the problem with this movie once again. Sloppy, stupid script writing. It doesn't make sense. It wasn't polished. And the thing about it is it's like rope, okay? You might have a bit of a fray on a rope and the rope will hold. All right? You might have that and it'll hold. But when you got so many just fraying bits and things that just don't make sense, it snaps. And this movie, it suffers from that.
This rope was soaked in kerosene like Kevin McAllister in Home Alone 2 and set on fire in its inception. It doesn't make no sense. So let's go on with the plot again.
Yeah.
Somewhere in here, in that cave, Indiana Jones, our 80-year-old, who's basically held hostage at this point because he ain't got no business being in this movie, is shot. He's wounded.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he got shot. Indiana Jones got shot, and he's 80 years old, and he's dying sometimes.
Yeah, there's also.
He's dying sometimes. Okay? But he doesn't die. The Nazis get the Dial of Destiny. They're flying away on their aircraft. They use it to open up the time portal.
Yeah. This is before he gets shot, by the way.
Okay. They are about to approach, and they're like, wait a minute. Bro, did you calculate the right time? I'm supposed to go back to the 1940s. This looks like it's going to take us back to 2,000 years. Oh, no.
Wait. It's a little more complicated than that. They basically say that because Archimedes couldn't account for continental drift, there's no way that he could know where they were going in time. That's kind of the whole plot. Now, it is what it is. This is the problem with time travel plots or whatever. It turns out, and I actually liked this part of the movie. It turns out that what it really was Archimedes was calling for help somehow through time and hoping that someone would come from the future to help them in their plot. And that was kind of supposed to be the whole thing. Now, that is what it is. They go back through time. I don't really have a problem with that stuff. The problem is everything else at the end that is just done, like it's just glossed over. So he gets shot, like he says.
He gets shot. They go back in time.
Doesn't he jump out of a
Teddy, who's never piloted a plane before, steals a Cessna and flies after them at night through a rainstorm. The boy's never flown before.
All right.
And he chases them through a time portal. Shout out to Teddy. Look, Pete Maverick Mitchell ain't got nothing on Teddy.
I mean, when you look at planes built in the 1940s, it really, like, they're basically made of, like, balsa wood. I mean, I guess this was the 1960s, but it was still, like, an old aircraft.
It's an old aircraft. He flies it through. They get there. The Romans, are in the middle of a battle right there. They mistake the planes for dragons, and they shoot them down.
Now, that's what's the dumbest, like... Okay, so let's just for a second. The guys on the plane just start shooting the Romans. Just start shooting them. Here you are in the past, and you're just like, you know what? I never...
Weapons free!
I never saw the butterfly effect.
Yeah, exactly.
Just massacring, like, ships of Romans, and the Romans are shooting back at them.
Accurately.
Yes. For some goofy reason with like, you know, ballistae or whatever. The absurdity of the movie compounds on itself. That's really what it is. The absurdity of what's going on in this final scene, the absurdity of the everything that's gone by that's gotten us to this point. The real problem with this movie, like I said before, is bad writing, inconsistent plot points, and just a complete lack of inspiration. What story was told here? What was the point in the story that they did tell us?
So at the end of it all, in closing, Indiana Jones, who's dying from his gunshot wound, conveniently again, decides, just let me die here in the past. This is where I want to go. This is where I want to be. I don't have anything in the future waiting for me. Remember, my son's dead. Yeah. My wife filed for separation, for divorce. It's over. I don't have a job anymore. I've been retired. It's all done. It's all good. Let me stay here. And then Helena Shaw's like, nah, son, and hits him with the most devastating right cross that has ever happened in the Indiana Jones universe, because he didn't get knocked out by the German dude by the aircraft. He didn't get knocked out by the big dude in the turban in the second movie. He didn't get knocked out by nobody in the third movie. But this chick sleeps him. Not only sleeps him, he just wakes back up in the 1960s. That means he got slept, drugged back to the aircraft, taken back to the time portal that was closing.
We literally, the entire, the conclusion, the actual peak of the movie, if it was actually a graph, it would go like this, up, and then back in the 1960s. That's how it happens. Because there's a lot of questions still to be answered, even on.
But the most important question is this: how did Marion suddenly decide? Marion shows up at the movie, and he's like, I heard you were back, really back. I heard you were back. So they get back together at the end of the movie. And then Helena Shaw takes out Sala's kids for ice cream, and that's the end. That's the end of this movie. That's how this movie ends.
Honestly, like I said before, this movie did not need to be made.
Don't look at him, look at me.
I just said the movie did not need to be made. It was literally a movie that they could have they should have, and this is the thing about it, and we said this over and over again, Stop giving these movies to random people. Give them to people that care about it so that they can make the movies for people that care about it. What happened with Top Gun? What happened with Top Gun Maverick? You got a person who clearly cared about the character and made sure that they made a movie that was consistent across that. Consistent with who that character is, consistent with what that character would be like at an advanced age, consistent with making sure they respect the character. They don't just treat him like a joke. Even though they make jokes about some of the stuff he's done, they still respect him. And guess what else they made? And
a load of money.
Not just money.
What is it, Lone Star?
A load of money.
Anyway, they made a ton of cash because when you give the fans the movies that they care about, when you respect their characters, when you write it consistently, you can print your own money.
So, in closing, we got to give this movie a rating, but I'm gonna say, hey, Disney, congratulations! You finally ruined it all. You crushed it all. You destroyed it all. You did it all in. You done it all in.
You see, and this is the thing about this movie. I already was disappointed with Indiana Jones because of the Crystal Skull. This movie didn't really disappoint me more. It more perplexes me. Because once again, after the movie was over, I wasn't mad. I was mostly confused. As in,
I was angry.
Who was this movie for? Who was it for?
Who asked for this?
Indiana Jones fans. I mean, like, we wanted Indiana Jones in World War II. That was the movie we wanted. It should have came out in 1994, right after Patriot Games. It should have came out right then. Indiana Jones, he's looking for the Spear of Christ. That's the movie we wanted to see. And we got to see about 15 minutes of that.
I'm going to go ahead and give this movie a rating of, because of the first 15 minutes, I'm going to give you 1 out of 5 whips. Because whoever wrote this needs to whip it. And I'll give you 1 out of 5 Indiana Jones whips.
Yeah, I'm only going to give this 2 because it's better than the Crystal Skull. But it still suffers from the same dumb stuff that the Crystal Skull suffers from. Nothing as dumb as a nuke fridge, but still just too many mistakes.
If everybody would have died going through the time portal.
It just exploded.
If they would just exploded.
I mean,
at least they died smart, capable.
It was
beautiful.
It was really stupid. They did a lot of stupid things. They could have done it better.
Indiana Jones ends with Dr. Henry Jones Sr., Dr. Henry Jones Jr., Sala, and Marcus Brody riding off into the sunset.
I don't disagree. Those were better movies. This is I don't know. This was uninspired. It was not necessary. It was kind of disrespectful. Just stop it.
Keep your hands off of it.
Just stop it.
Keep your hands off of it.
If you can't find a director that actually knows what it is before you get there in the meeting,
money grubbing, cotton picking hands,
just stay
off of it.
Stay away from it.
Yeah, that's it. In closing, I'm Otis Roper.
And I'm Brandon Roper.
And together we are still
the Super Roper Brothers.
Get that crap.
Hey, how are there that many snakes? How are there that many, bugs all on top of each other? Good Lord. Is everybody under arrest?
I like how we keep talking about bad plot points and the cops keep showing up.
Man, every time.
Yeah.
At this point, I just don't care. At this point, I don't care. So
wait. So
that's what doesn't make sense. She's not the villain, but she's doing bad things. And so that's a problem. Like, I get that we have the thief with the heart of gold. That's what she's trying to emulate in this. But why is she a thief? Why?
Because she has a little buddy, not Short Round.
Oh, yeah, who's definitely Short Round.
He's not Short Round.
He's definitely supposed to be Short Round.
No, his name is Theodore.
Theo. Theodore.
Where's that movie from?
Nobody will know that.
They're like,
nobody.
All right. So